You've tried it all. Books, reward charts, counseling, lots of prayer, deep breaths, and yet your child is still melting down, acting defiant, or emotionally spiraling. And now you're exhausted, discouraged, burned out. If you've ever wondered, why am I trying so hard and nothing's getting better, you'll enjoy this episode. We're talking about the hidden burnout emotionally intense parenting brings and what to do when nothing seems to work. If you're running on empty, friend, this one's for you. Welcome to Calm Connection Parenting, where we buckle up for the emotional roller coaster of raising intense and highly sensitive kids and discover some amazing things along the way. I'm your host, Jamie Kirkbride, a mom of 7, parenting coach, professional counselor, and your guide through the wild world of meltdowns, challenging behaviors, and big emotions. If you're exhausted and overwhelmed, feeling like you're always one step away from chaos, searching for a little calm in your day, then you're in the right place. Here, you'll find practical tools and faith-based strategies to transform your family. Together, we'll laugh, we'll learn, and we'll figure out how to turn those messy meltdowns into moments of connection. Let's jump in. Hey friend, before we get into today's episode, I want you to know this. If you're feeling worn out, overwhelmed, or like nothing you're doing is actually helping, you're not alone. I created the Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program to walk alongside parents of emotionally intense and uniquely wired kids. It offers you real strategies, weekly support, and a plan that finally makes sense. If you're ready to shift from chaos to calm, visit calmconnectionparent.com and get the support you and your child need. We can do this together. Oh, and real quick, before we get started, just a reminder to check and make sure you're actually following this podcast. I know, for some silly reason, there was a duplicate version of this podcast just floating around out there. And when we had to archive it, some listeners got bumped off with the duplicate. So even if you thought you hit follow, would you just take a quick second to double check? That way you won't miss new episodes or any of those fun extras that we've got coming your way. Now, let's dive in. I remember sitting in the dark on the edge of my bed one night, tears in my eyes, completely drained. We'd had yet another rough evening, meltdown after meltdown, and I had tried every trick in the book, calm voice, redirection, giving options. Nothing was working, and what crushed me wasn't just the chaos, it was how hard I was trying, and yet how defeated I still felt. I whispered, God, why is this so hard? Why does nothing seem to work? And I wish someone had told me back then that it's not because I was a bad parent or not trying hard enough. It's because I was parenting a child who was highly sensitive and emotionally intense, and that requires a different kind of approach. So today I want to share with you what I wish I had known sooner and what might just change everything for you too. 3 important things here. First of all, you're not failing. You're parenting a child who needs something different. The traditional parenting advice often doesn't work with emotionally intense or dysregulated kids. Why? Well, because these kids need co-regulation, not necessarily correction in the moment. Understanding and not just consequences. In the midst of trying to do it right, we are getting focused on being more strict or maybe being more consistent, which may work for some kids or in some cases. However, with an unpredictable child, we begin to think that we can approach them with a rigid plan for discipline or consistency. And let me tell you now, it will backfire. Their needs and abilities may look and be different day to day and even in different settings. So what can you do about it? Well, I encourage you to start by recognizing that your child isn't trying to make your life hard. They're having a hard time themselves. And it's not about fixing them, it's about understanding them. This shift is everything. They're not giving you a hard time, they are having a hard time. And they need you to realize the difference. And if you're honest with yourself, you'd approach a child in two very different ways if they were giving you a hard time versus having a hard time, right? Well, and this is what's oftentimes misunderstood. In moments of emotional dysregulation, your child's brain has shifted into survival mode. Their logic is simply offline. Reasoning won't work. Consequences in this moment won't teach. They can't teach. What they need most is a regulated adult who can co-regulate with them. And this doesn't mean excusing their behavior. It means stabilizing their nervous system first so they can access the part of their brain that actually learns. A calm, steady tone, few words, and maybe something like, "You're having a hard time, I'm here." And that can do far more than a lecture ever could. Because quite honestly, your long explanation, no matter how good you think it is, might simply be a trigger for them. When you model regulation in the heat of the moment, you aren't being soft, you're being strategic. Because connection is the bridge to correcting those behaviors. Number 2, burnout happens when you're constantly on without refueling. It's true. Truth is, you're living on the edge, walking on eggshells, waiting for the next meltdown, and trying to be 5 steps ahead at all times. And it simply wears you down. Why? Because emotionally intense parenting demands more from you. Emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. You are parenting a child who needs more structure, more understanding, more direction, more compassion, more redirection, more oversight, more support, more help, more encouragement, more skill training, more love, more care, and well, you get it, more. And you can start to feel like you are just on all the time, morning, noon, night, and midnight. Because let's admit it, some of us have kiddos with unique wiring that have trouble with restful sleep too. So it can be simply exhausting. So what can you do about it? Well, I encourage you, start identifying one area where you can give back to yourself. Maybe it's scheduling a break during the day. Maybe it's reaching out to someone who just really gets it. Maybe it's joining a program that was created just for this, finding an outlet that can hear your struggles, understand your challenges, and give you the feedback that actually pertains to your child. Maybe even giving you skills and strategies that can actually be effective in making changes. If that sounds like something you might need, I'd love to share this with you. Parenting a uniquely wired child can feel isolating, right? While other parents are talking about typical tantrums and bedtime battles, you're navigating emotional meltdowns, sensory overload, or challenging behaviors that many people just don't understand. It can be frustrating when the advice you hear just doesn't fit your child, and even harder when you feel like you're alone in the journey. But here's the truth. You don't have to settle for just surviving. In the Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program, I'll help you understand your child's unique wiring and give you faith-based practical strategies to not only manage the emotions and challenging behaviors, but actually help your whole family thrive. With video course, workbooks, a supportive community, and weekly coaching calls, you'll get personalized support every step of the way. If you're ready to stop feeling alone and start finding real solutions that work for you, your child, and your family, then visit calmconnectionparent.com to learn more. Together, let's move you from surviving to thriving. Let's do this. That's right. After our journey with our child, I wanted to help streamline the process for other parents. Instead of feeling that they had to learn by trial and error, or feeling like they were at a total loss for tools that worked, I wanted other families to have these tools and resources that could actually apply to their emotionally dysregulated child. Parenting tools can sometimes be all around you and can, maybe even considered a dime a dozen, unless your child has unique wiring, mental health issues, or this chronic emotional dysregulation. Then it can honestly feel like you're on the journey all alone, with no resources, no tools, and lacking people that really get it, sometimes even the professionals themselves. And I don't want any parent to feel that way. So please know there are resources available, and I'm here to help. I have to share with you, even as a mental health counselor, during our deepest struggles and even intermittently, I found help by meeting with a counselor for myself. And one of the things that we worked on were tools and strategies that would work with our child. Because what I was trying with 6 other kiddos may have worked, but it wasn't going to work with him. So no matter what your background is, no matter what's worked for your other kiddos, even if you are a specialist in mental health, I want you to know that sometimes we just need someone outside the situation that can be a sounding board, that can help hold us accountable to maybe that self-care, maybe giving us different ideas, brainstorming what might work, and understanding what our life is really like. So I just want to encourage you to find that support that you might need, whether it's counseling or coaching or maybe a support group. I just want you to feel that plugging in might be a really important piece to battling that burnout. Now, getting back to task, the next thing that is important to know, real change comes with support and strategy, not simply more effort. Trying harder doesn't mean getting better results if you're using tools that aren't built for your child or your child's unique wiring or needs. Why? Well, I can tell you this. I wore myself out doing the researching, the studying, the hunting, calling around, so many appointments, all of the therapies, praying my guts out, you name it. I think I really began to believe that if I just tried harder, it would all make sense. Truth is, it may never make sense perfectly, but you can have greater clarity and tools and resources that actually work. You need strategies that are tailored to how your child is wired and support that helps you grow more confident and keeps you grounded while you practice and learn to use those tools. So how can we do that? Well, I encourage you to find those things that you can plug into that bring you peace, calm, and confidence. Things that feed your soul, that whisper truth to you in the tough times, and encourage you through the storms that can hit. And that's exactly what we do in the Calm Connection coaching program. We help you shift the patterns step by step in a way that finally feels doable so that you can start seeing those real results. I remember our first successful family vacation after learning some of these skills that were actually effective with our own child, and how much better it felt that we could actually venture out of our usual setting and still limit the amount of stress, tension, and meltdowns that we had before. I remember hearing a single mom in our coaching program talk about actually having the confidence to take her 3 children on a vacation by herself after learning some of these skills and strategies. And even greater was her excitement when she returned and she shared with us in our coaching group how well things had gone, how surprised she was, how the tools were working, and how beautifully her family was able to relate, even on a vacation. It really mattered. It's so easy to feel when you're walking this road through a uniquely wired child, a highly emotional child, a child with mental health needs, whatever it might be, just simply a strong personality, whatever it is that might be behind your child's emotional dysregulation or moods. It's so easy to feel like you're walking the road alone. And sometimes the struggles that you have aren't the kind of things that you want to bring up with other people. You might fear judgment. You might fear that they're going to think differently of your child. And it can be really hard to open up, be vulnerable, and available to get the support that your soul really needs. But I encourage you to look for those ways that you can find that support, where you can find those resources. That's exactly what we do in the Parenting with Personality Facebook group. And you're welcome to join us there, but this is an online support group where you can ask questions. I can help brainstorm, sometimes brain sort some answers, but we can talk about some different things that you might try. Maybe just some encouragement. Sometimes we just need to hear, hang in there, you've got this. Or I'll say a prayer for you this week. Or, you know what, I tried this and it worked really well. Or whatever you do, maybe don't try that. It wasn't so effective. Whatever it might be, we need to know that it is okay to connect, to share those struggles, and to find healthy support for them. Now, I know some of you probably feel as though you've been burned once before and you're not sure you want to try it again. I just want to let you know, I understand. I hear that a lot. And so it's important that you look for those groups that are educated and informed about your child's needs, so that when you do share, the advice and support and encouragement that you get is aligned with your family values, with your child's needs, and that they're informed of what is effective in those situations, not just what might be ideal. So let's wrap this up and kind of figure out, when the rubber meets the road, what do we really need to know or remember? Well, here's what I want you to hear loud and clear. It's not your lack of love, effort, or intention that's keeping things stuck. It's that you've been trying to do it all alone without tools that actually work for a child like yours. No wonder you're overwhelmed, weary, and burned out. It's like trying to dig a hole to plant a tree with a little spoon. It can be exhausting, ineffective, and pretty disheartening when you keep working and working and working and nothing's happening. But it doesn't have to stay that way. I want to encourage you to do these things. Start by acknowledging your child's unique wiring. And remember, they're not broken, they're beautifully different. Next, give yourself permission to say, this is really hard. This is really, really hard, without feeling guilt or shame. And most importantly, stop walking this path alone. Real change takes new tools, fresh insights, and honest support. You deserve that kind of help and support. Your child deserves that kind of help and support. And honestly, your whole family deserves that kind of help and support, because it affects the whole family unit. The Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program was built for families like yours. Families raising emotionally intense, highly sensitive, and sometimes beautifully complex kids. If you're ready for tools that actually work, support that understands your story, and a step-by-step plan that brings calm into your chaos, you found it. Visit calmconnectionparent.com and join us. You don't have to figure it out alone. And friend, let me leave you with this. God gave you this child, and He gave this child you. It's no accident. You were handpicked to help shape, guide, and walk with them into the purpose they were created for. And you can't do that running on empty. So take a deep breath, refuel your heart, and remember, you play a very important role in your child's life. If you're tired of trying harder and still getting nowhere, take a deep breath, friend. You're not failing. You're parenting a uniquely wired child who needs something different. And I can assure you, there's help and support for your journey. Well, that's it for today. But the journey to calm parenting doesn't stop here. If you are nodding in agreement, laughing, or maybe even crying, don't worry, we've all been there. Make sure to share this podcast with a friend who might need it too. Don't forget to connect with us at parentingwithpersonality.com or join our Parenting with Personality Facebook group. I'd love to support you there. And until next time, you've got this. Just keep calm and parent on.